riddle me this, riddle me that, blah, blah, blah. You know, isn't it funny how Hollywood works? They can be like, hey, thanks for giving us so much money, director. Now get out of here. But come back and be our producer. Well, that's pretty much what happened in this film. And yes, this is almost identical to the last review as far as the set goes because I'm actually filmed it in the same night.
Here you are, sir. Batman.
Now I've got him!
Hi, I'm Anthonix Maximus, bitching to you about movies because McDonald's is a monster. Alright, so I've been reviewing some Batman movies within the last couple years, and with the new The Batman movie, why not take a look at another Batman film where Batman takes on the Riddler? I just got through reviewing Batman the movie, the 1966 film. Why not review 1995's Batman Forever? With Batman Forever, this is an interesting one. Batman Returns did very well because of its dark tones, but unfortunately it was too dark. So dark that poor McDonald's couldn't even sell any toys. Yeah, I mean, apparently parents did not want to get kids toys based off of a movie that has a penguin having blood gush out of his mouth or Catwoman licking faces. So Warner Brothers had to buckle to the demands of not just McDonald's, but also Kenner. McDonald's, wanting to profit off of Batman, demanded Warner Brothers to tone down Batman. People think it's Joel Schumacher that was behind this, but he had very little involvement when it came to those kind of decisions. Warner Brothers would have gotten Tim Burton to do it, but Tim Burton wasn't going to do that. He wasn't going to tone down his movie. So they actually let Tim Burton go. But then they decided to keep him as producer. And if you notice in the opening credits, it actually says a Tim Burton production right before it says a Joel Schumacher film. Like, they still wanted to make money off of Tim Burton without actually having him direct. And on paper, it actually sounds like a good idea to have Joel Schumacher direct this film because he's directed very serious films like The Client, and he's also directed scary films like The Lost Boys. You'd think it wouldn't be too much of a departure to direct this next Batman movie. Well, lots of script changes. You see, had Tim Burton stayed on, the original script was said to be 2 hours and 40 minutes. And according to various sources, the film was going to be called Batman Continues. It would have featured Catwoman returning. It would have also featured Two Face, played by Billy D. Williams. And it would have actually had the Riddler, played by Robin Williams, another Williams. I imagine Robin Williams turned it down because they screwed him over on the first Batman film, where they said he would be the Joker, but it turned out that Warner Brothers just pretty much put that out there as a rumor just to get Jack Nicholson to change his mind and say, okay, fine, I'll be the Joker. So really they used Robin Williams as bait for Jack Nicholson. Also, originally, the film was going to start with a young child at the circus with his parents. It was a circus carnival. In the funhouse, a young Edward Nygma is abandoned by his parents, and he comes across a fortune-telling machine wearing the Riddler outfit, and he just sits there enamored with it and just watches it all night. And then it cuts to him being older and really obsessed with riddles. Now, the whole fortune teller machine thing actually does play a part in the end result in Batman Forever. Just a very tiny bit. In Batman Returns, had they actually been able to keep Billy D. Williams, he actually was going to be the part of Max Schreck. The same way Catwoman electrocuted Max Schreck in Batman Returns, it was actually going to be her electrocuting Billy D. Williams, which gets half his face burnt. Then it would have ended with him being Two-Face. And the film would have actually had Robin in it, played by Marlon Wayans. I was a little bit wrong when I said in the Batman Returns review that Marlon Wayans was going to be Robin. Well, let's just say yes and no. Marlon Wayans was going to be in Batman Returns, but he wasn't going to be Robin quite yet. He was going to have a jumpsuit because he was going to be a mechanic that works on the Batmobile, but that was pretty much going to be the end of it, and then the third film would have had him as Robin. Also, in the original Tim Burton film, Harvey Dent Two-Face was not going to die. He was going to suffer the same fate as what happens in this film, with being confused by all the coins while trying to flip his own coin. He wasn't going to fall anywhere. It would have been like the animated series, really.
The great equalizer.
Initially, Michael Keaton didn't really have a problem with Joel Schumacher taking over as the director. In fact, he was in full support. But then when Keaton saw the rewrites to the script, that's when he kind of dropped out. With Michael Keaton out, it opened up for the role of Batman to go to Val Kilmer, which, by the way, Val Kilmer was actually Bob Kane's favorite Batman. Not that it matters, because Bob Kane is a filthy jerk that tried to steal all the credit of Batman for himself, so who cares? And funny enough, Val Kilmer learned that he was going to be Batman while inside of a Batcave doing research for another film he was working on, The Ghost and the Darkness. Schumacher really hoped Val Kilmer was going to say yes, and by the end, Schumacher never wanted to work with Val Kilmer ever again. Probably because Val Kilmer actually punched Schumacher on set. That's the problem with Kilmer. And he would later agree to this, that he had too much of an ego. Because the thing about Kilmer is that he has a bit of a director mindset. He rather worked behind the scenes instead of in front of the camera. Instead of Marlon Wayans, the role of Robin went to Chris O'Donnell, who actually beat out Leonardo DiCaprio and Christian Bale. Christian Bale, who became a lot of people's favorite Batman, was told that he was not worthy enough to wear the nipples to be Robin. Yeah, the nipple thing, by the way, is because when Schumacher was directing, he envisioned Batman and Robin to be like ancient Greek gods or Greek heroes like Hercules. So why not put it on Batman and Robin? He did later admit that that was ridiculous. So the film came out June 16th, 1995. And it actually made quite a bit of money because, well, I mean, the first two movies did well. Why not bring in the same crowd, right? And now let's take a look at Batman Forever. See, aside from the nipples, I actually like this Batman outfit because it's similar to the last two movies, except for a bit more sleek. Oh, and the only actors to return from the previous two films are Pat Hingle, Commissioner Gordon, and Michael Gough as Alfred Pennyworth. But you want to know what makes this film influenced by McDonald's? Do ya? You want to know?
Can I persuade you to take a sandwich with you, sir?
I'll get drive-through.
Introducing McDonald's Superhero Burger.
Oh, by the way, that Batmobile sucks. I gotta say that. Not as bad as what we're gonna get in the next movie, but I'm sorry, I haven't seen a good Batmobile since Tim Burton's Batmobile. I can't stand the brightness of the Schumacher Batmobiles, and I also don't like the vehicles that's given to Batman in the future films as well, because they're like tanks. Although the Batman, he looks like he has a nicer Batmobile. We'll see how that one turns out. And there's that bright, colorful Gotham, because Schumacher thought Gotham should look like Tokyo or Las Vegas. But this is where I actually do say a piece of Tim Burton's influence comes in, is Two-Face giving this speech.
You're counting on the winged Avenger to deliver you from evil, aren't you, my friend?
Two-Face is played by Tommy Lee Jones. He was reluctant to do it, but he's worked with Schumacher before, so why not? I did not find a reason why they didn't get Billy D. Williams. I really feel bad for him. I feel like he got screwed over, because if you see him in interviews during the first Batman movie, he was excited that he was going to become Two-Face.
And Billy D. Williams told me the reason he wanted to do the movie is because he was going to become Two-Face in another movie.
I really wanted desperately to do, obviously, Two-Face.
You're a gambling man. Let's say we flip for it.
Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face, when he delivers this monologue,
One man is born a hero, his brother a coward. Babies starve, politicians grow fat.
it feels right. It feels like Two-Face. But then he just gets sillier and sillier.
Luck! Blind, stupid, simple, doodah, clueless luck!
I think a lot of it is because they got Jim Carrey as the Riddler. Jim Carrey, fresh off of hit films like The Mask and also Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. They wanted him on there because they wanted him to be just like Frank Gorshin.
Make those messages clear!
And that really does kind of translate into this film. It's almost like Tommy Lee Jones was trying to compete for the spotlight as well. So they were both trying to chew the scenery. I believe the word from Jones is buffoonery. And we have Batman swooping in to meet the commissioner and the new character, Dr. Chase Meridian. Here we're getting man-hungry Chase Meridian, played by Nicole Kidman. She won the part from Rene Russo.
The second bank of Gotham on the...
Second anniversary of the day I captured him.
How could Two-Face resist?
In the original opening, it was actually gonna be a shot inside of Arkham Asylum, and when they go into Harvey Dent's cell, written in blood is, "The Bat must die." Wish they had kept that. It just really sets up the movie.
Let's start this party with a bang!
Oh geez, even for Two-Face, they're doing the Dutch angle shot. The Dutch angle shot I did not mention in the Batman the Movie review is something they did in the 1960s for the villains. Well, because, you know, the screen is crooked, because the villains are crooked. That's what they kind of did here. First moment of wackiness, Batman has to deal with this security guard.
Oh no! It's boiling acid! Wow! My shoes are melting!
I'll just kill him already. But no matter, Batman got the safe and the security guard back into the bank. Now Batman is swinging from the helicopter to get Two-Face.
You need help, Harvey.
That's how this Batman fights. He headbutts right to the window. But Two-Face escapes and crashes the helicopter into the Statue of Liberty. DC's version of Statue of Liberty. Also goes to tell me that I think Gotham is New Jersey. I mean, we see that in Batman v Superman, right? That Gotham and Metropolis, they're pretty much across the water from each other. Same way as in the Christopher Reeve Superman movies, Metropolis is New York. And I do think these Batman movies and those Superman movies are in the same universe. I mean, you know, as far as timeline goes and everything, it just makes sense. Yeah, I'm just gonna assume that Gotham is in New Jersey. And now we are introduced to Edward Nygma.
Oh, Bruce Wayne.
No, that's my name.
He has a bit of a weird Fatal Attraction vibe.
You're my idol.
Work, Edward.
And some people have been trying to keep us apart.
I, Edward Nygma's boss, played by Ed Begley Jr. I didn't think I would see you this soon right after the Ghostbusters 2016 review. I thought the next time I'd see you was when I reviewed, oh, I don't know, She-Devil. But here you are.
Back to work, Edward.
Basically, just to chew the fat here, Edward Nygma shows off his new invention, which just seems like virtual reality, and talks about brainwaves, and Bruce Wayne turns it down.
Tampering with people's brainwaves, mind manipulation. It just raises too many questions.
And as Bruce Wayne sees the signal,
Chair.
you know, I just want to see how he explains to these construction people and the architects, like, what he wants. Like, I want to see how he explains that to these people of what he wants built.
Commissioner Gordon?
I sent the signal.
It was Chase that turned on the bat signal. That temptress, she shouldn't be up there, and neither should Seal.
Bat signal.
signal is not a beeper.
You know, a beeper. The thing that existed in 1995. It was a stupid friggin' invention. I mean, they had cell phones back then. It just wasn't open to everyone like it is now. I mean, if it wasn't for capitalism, we could have just skipped to owning cell phones sooner. Instead of having people come up with pager. We'll be here all day if I talked about capitalism and inventions.
It's the car, right? Chicks love the car.
Riveting dialogue. Thank you.
Or do I need skin-tight vinyl and a whip?
Skin-tight vinyl and a whip. Chase, don't you dare invoke the name of Blade.
Fired! You are fired!
One bad day and he suddenly has his kill switch on.
All it takes is one bad day.
Kind of like the animated series where he also had a problem with his boss.
Although Batman tried to save him, Dent's left brain damage transformed him into a violent criminal.
Oh, so that's how he became Two-Face. Sal Maroni did it. You know, Sal Maroni. He would later show up in The Dark Knight, played by Eric Roberts. Here, we only get a small piece of him. In the original script, it was actually going to be more of Sal Maroni.
I found this in my cubicle. You'll find the handwriting matches his exactly, as does sentence structure and spelling.
They even had to be jokey about this villain as well. Yeah, you know, these cops aren't gonna notice that. Would someone please explain to me how one can doctor a surveillance video like that? Is it because the invention that he had can manipulate people's minds even through security recording? We need answers, movie. Jon Favreau, what are you doing here? Oh, you know what? Maybe before working for Tony Stark, he actually worked for Bruce Wayne.
See you soon.
Ah, the first riddle.
Clock.
Fun fact, the Riddler actually was a popular character in the cartoon series, Batman the Animated Series. But it was actually tough for the writers to come up with really good riddles. That's why the Riddler didn't have too many episodes.
Tear one off and scratch my head. Once was red is black instead.
A match.
So we set up that scene just so we can basically get small information about him being stalked and invite her to the circus. I wonder, I mean, they could have just had circus tents, but I feel like that this building was supposed to be like the Super Friends Hall of Justice building. You know, Tim Burton would have loved this part. Tim Burton loves circuses in his movies. Yes, the circus, where you can find scantily cladded muscle men beating drums. Fun for the whole family.
Who is this beautiful young woman you're with?
Dr. Chase Meridian.
A doctor? What kind of doctor?
We get a doctor. Yes, that is Gossip Gertie, and she's played by Elizabeth Sanders, Bob Kane's wife.
He's like a frog that became a prince.
No, he's more like a penguin.
And it's the Flying Graysons, including Dick Grayson, wearing the same outfit that Robin wore in his introduction in 1940. Robin was actually created in the comics to get more kid readers. That was their solution back then in the 1940s. If there was a superhero, they needed a kid sidekick. Isn't that right, Bucky? Except for in the comics, the Flying Graysons consisted of the mother and the father. He didn't have a brother. I guess the reason why they included a brother was because to be different from Bruce Wayne, he didn't have a brother.
I've met someone.
That's fast work. You just moved here.
Well, you could say he just kind of dropped out of the sky and bang.
And this is the beginning part of Chase messing around with Bruce Wayne and Batman because she keeps stringing each of them along. But that don't matter. Look at Commissioner Gordon in the back. He looks like he's having a real good time at the circus. Good for him.
Ladies and gentlemen.
And Two-Face, oh no, he's taken over.
And join us in a celebration of absolute chaos and true fiestas.
I like how everyone in the crowd does not notice it's Two-Face until he actually turns to the camera.
In our innocent hand, a radio detonator. But
What the hell do you want, Harvey?
Hi, Mayor George Wallace.
Hell, odds are one of you pasty-faced twits is Batman. You have 2 minutes.
So basically, he wants Batman to announce himself in front of the crowd, which Bruce Wayne tries, but it's too loud. And when Bruce Wayne realizes that, instead of him actually just walking down and saying, hey, I'm Batman, he just decides to start kicking ass.
We could stop him, Mitch, if we go out on the rigging.
Be careful, boys.
Don't worry, Mom.
That's okay. The Graysons are stopping the bomb as well. But not if Two-Face has anything to say about it, because they die.
Drop!
Yep, in this film, Two-Face is responsible for Robin's parents' death. The same way the Joker was written to be responsible for Batman's parents' death. It does make sense, though, in this case, because post-Crisis era, Two-Face was sort of responsible. In the original comics, Dick Grayson's parents were killed by someone who worked for the mob boss Tony Zuko. In the post-Crisis of DC, Two-Face was actually responsible for Robin's dad's death, except for that Robin was Jason Todd. His dad was Willis Todd, and Jason Todd wanted to kill Two-Face, but Batman talked him out of it. I like to think this film was clever to incorporate that, but I also kind of feel like they wanted to simplify the origin story.
Getting anyone now?
Poor Dick Grayson. He's an orphan now. Who's going to take him in? He's only 26.
Welcome, Master Grayson.
Oh, Bruce Wayne is gonna take him in. He has no business taking in strays considering he's Batman, but he's gonna bring Dick Grayson into his home. You know, if we're going by the 1960s Batman rules, and it kind of makes me think about this, Aunt Harriet, why didn't she just adopt Dick Grayson? She's rich, but yet when her husband passes away, she moves into Wayne Manor. That bitch.
Where will you go? The circus must be halfway to Metropolis by now.
He said it. He said it. He said Metropolis. That's where Superman lives. Okay, I like to be fair to all movies, and I'm going to be fair to this one as well, because I did like this element. In Batman Returns, it does show Bruce kind of dealing with his own personal life, but doesn't really go further into his family's life. And here, he revisits the death of his parents because it's triggered by the death of Dick Grayson's parents. That's an element that I actually enjoy. Albeit, though, it is sort of played out a little bit different in tiny details where it doesn't quite look like a young Jack Napier killing them. And I think that's because this is the first time we actually got a soft reboot. So it may work as a sequel to Batman Returns, or it could actually work as a reboot. I like to think the former. I still want to acknowledge that all four of these movies are the same franchise, the same arc, the same series. This element I actually want to talk about, it's the Red Diary. Pay attention to the young Bruce Wayne looking at this Red Diary. See the pages flipping to the last entry. In the original script, in the extended version, there's a passage that he reads. See, the diary belonged to Thomas Wayne, Bruce's father. There's a sentence there that is what hits him hard. It's not conveyed in a film, but this is in the script. Bruce insists on seeing a movie tonight. That's where his parents die, is after seeing a movie. Here he says this line.
I killed them.
The tragedy of Dick Grayson's family dying unlocks more to Bruce's past, where he remembers that line from his father. Now he thinks he's responsible for his parents' death. Too much cut in this film, because when you're watching it and you don't know the context, it's like, okay, what is the diary about? He sees it, and then it does show him later in the film running with it, and he discovers a bat cave, which that is a nice little touch they included, because, you know, in the previous two Batman movies, it was just parents died, he becomes Batman. That's it. So it gave a little bit more to the backstory. But, man, if only they had kept that line, Bruce insists on seeing a movie tonight, and it made apparent to us, then we'd understand why Bruce is holding in all this guilt in this film.
Is this a robin?
My brother's wire broke. I swung out and grabbed him. Father said I was his hero. Flew in like a robin.
It sounds like a lame backstory to being called Robin, but hey, you know what? It's still better than The Dark Knight Rises, where John Blake's real name is Robin.
Legal name.
You should use your full name. I like that name. Robin.
And here we have an unnecessary scene of just Batman dealing with Two-Face. I'm just gonna skip over it. Hey, cool, look, the Batmobile is riding up a side of a building. Yay. And while that's going on, Edward Nygma is coming up with a character for himself.
The Puzzler.
One of them being called the Puzzler. The Puzzler was actually a character that showed up in the 1960s Batman show. Because it was season 2 and they didn't have Frank Gorshin being the Riddler that season, so they had to come up with an alternative. The Puzzler is actually a Superman villain, but we're glad he didn't choose that one.
Thank you.
He got inspired by the fortune-telling machine. Is he suddenly gonna grow up to be Tom Hanks and dance on a piano with Robert Loggia? And Two-Face has 2 girls, Sugar and Spice. Spice, oh, you could see her in Home Alone 3. And Sugar is played by Drew Barrymore.
You can call me
The Riddler.
Samesies!
This is how I found you. Let me demonstrate.
Okay, wait a minute. Did he come in earlier and put those machines there? Like, how are the machines just sitting there if he's just meeting them now? With a flip of a coin, Riddler gets to live and join forces with Two-Face.
The 8 of us go forth, not back, to protect our king from the foe's attack.
Chess pawns.
Oh, good. Bruce gets more riddles.
Clock. Matches. All physical objects man-made.
Small in size, light in weight. That's why they call him the Riddler.
Yes, thank you for setting up the name.
May I help you, Master Grayson?
How come this is the only locked door around this museum?
The 1960s Batcave is more subtle.
Nygmatech brings the joy of 3D entertainment into your living room!
And now Edward Nygma is getting rich from his invention. In Batman the Animated Series, Riddler tries to reform himself as a businessman as well.
There's hardly a home without the Nygmatech box.
This is all so silly and contrived, but I think we allowed it back then because it was Jim Carrey. If it was done by anyone else, even Robin Williams, sorry to say, it wouldn't have worked out too well. It would have been a bigger bomb. It's so adorable that someone in his 20s is acting like he's new to driving. Oh, and you recognize those girls there? Yeah, that's the singing group En Vogue.
That's not bad, man.
What are you talking about?
That's Bat Boy.
So, yeah, cameo, I guess. But no time for that. It's time for Dick Grayson to kick some ass. Beat up some colorful neon guys.
Run. Wait, doesn't Batman ever kiss the girl?
Go.
Thanks.
No, young lady. The hero doesn't always kiss the girl. I think you need to go home, you little harlot. And that is how you victim blame.
Bastard! It should have been you!
Yeah, beat him up. You can beat up all those guys, but you just want to punch Batman in his shoulders, apparently.
It's your fault! If you'd have told Two-Face you weren't the circus!
All I can think about every second of the day is getting Two-Face.
Why do you need Two-Face? You should be happy with one.
Oh, Eddie, he is too cute. How come you don't look so good in that suit?
Okay, I kind of like this little part because Edward Nygma is so jealous and hateful of Bruce Wayne that if you notice, he actually begins to dress like Bruce Wayne.
Shut up. You're here to work. How's my mole?
He's trying to copy Bruce Wayne's mole. His hatred has become his obsession.
Step inside. Give it a try.
Looking for something?
Well, I was just wondering how you turn it off.
Why would he agree to try that machine out? And the fact that he's trying to disable it is already calling attention to himself. No matter, Two-Face is here to interrupt the party. That window crash down looks pretty cool, I have to admit. Remember how I talked about how sometimes someone can be a bad extra? Just like that guy in the Ghostbusters movie? Well, there's an awful man right there. Batman! Two-Face escapes from Batman and tries to burn Batman, but Batman has a cool cape that blocks heat. Dick Grayson saves Batman from suffocating in the sand. Keep lowering in this damn seat.
I need a name. Batboy, Nightwing. I don't know. What do you think?
Oh, he said it. He said Nightwing because it's gonna become Nightwing.
And you're encouraging him.
Young men with a mind for revenge need little encouragement.
Alfred is such a dramatic little bastard. He loves stirring things up. They should redo him to be this, like, dramatic, over-the-top drama queen. You know, just pretty much always have, like, a cup of tea with a tea bag just kind of stirring, like, I don't know how he got his own outfit. No, never tell. Alfred should be that kind of guy. Doesn't really do his job. He just kind of hangs out at home, calls Batman up on his phone. Yeah, listen, we're all out of milk, so on our way home, can you grab some milk? Alfred, I'm fighting Two-Face. Yeah, but milk, we're out of milk. Can you do that? That's your job. Yeah, I know, but it's late.
Never been in love before, Alfred.
Never been in love before. You seemed like you were in love when it came to Vicky Vale. You were all about seeing a Kyle. This scene right here, geez. He's showing up for a booty call as Batman. And you know what? It's not nice to call women a tease, but come on. Dr. Chase Meridian is a tease. She leads Bruce on, and then she leads Batman on as well. And when she sees Batman as Two-Face is attacking, she kisses him and tells him to show up at her place. And she is clearly naked under that sheet, and when he arrives at her request, she says she's not interested. She's interested in Bruce. Nope, you know what? She's supposed to be a psychologist, right? Did she get into that field just so she learns how to mess with people's mind? Ugh, Batman, don't ever smile like that again.
Riddle me this. What kind of a man has bats on the brain?
Oh no, Two-Face and Riddler figured out Bruce Wayne is Batman. Even though that could really mean anything. I mean, he lives in Gotham. You Gothamites see Batman all the time. Whose mind isn't Batman on? See, I was going to actually reserve this for a Halloween episode, but there's only one tiny scene, which is this one where it takes place on Halloween. So it doesn't quite qualify as Halloween episode. Oh, and by the way, at this point, Chase has pretty much figured out that Bruce Wayne is Batman because they kiss and she figures it out. The same way that Mary Jane Watson figured out that Peter Parker could be Spider-Man because similar kiss. So if superheroes existed, I too would probably just go around kissing as many people as I know and kiss the superhero to see if it matches. A lot of comic book fans don't like this scene because Two-Face is actually controlled by chance. He's controlled by the coin toss. And even if you take out that equation from what we know in the comics, let's say, you're not a comic book reader and you're watching this film, as Chase has actually said,
his coin. It's his Achilles heel.
Unless you want to pretend that he wasn't flipping to decide if Batman's going to die, but perhaps how he's going to die. And this whole Batcave destroying scene would be more of an impact if they weren't playing silly music and silly sound effects, like the baseball music. Let's talk about this scene where after Chase is taken away by Two-Face and Riddler not allowing Two-Face to kill Batman yet because he's obsessed with giving riddles, there's an extended scene on this as well. Bruce wakes up with amnesia, a momentary amnesia. What brings him back to remembering everything is Alfred takes Bruce down to the Batcave. Everything's destroyed, but Alfred brings up the red diary. It comes back into play. However, there's another passage that Bruce discovers. And in that passage, because remember I said before, he thought he was responsible for the death of his parents by insisting on going to the movies. Well, in the further passage, they find another sentence written by Thomas Wayne, which is where the father just talks about how he wanted so badly to take his son to Zorro. Because as I've mentioned a couple times, Zorro is the movie that the Waynes watch the night that Thomas and Martha Wayne dies. The film in the comics is actually the Mark of Zorro. So this brings levity to Bruce that he's no longer the reason why his parents are dead. So it all comes back to Bruce. He remembers everything and it inspires him to become Batman with what piece is left, which is his new prototype suit. And this is the first time Joel Schumacher shows us Bat Butt. And then we have Robin. Robin is back in the picture, full-on Robin. The suit is inspired to match up with the Tim Drake version. Long green pant leg, the black and yellow cape.
What's that stand for?
Robin. Oh, good for you!
He's not coming. Shut it down.
Commissioner Gordon was ready to give up on him, wasn't he? Which I guess Commissioner Gordon's cool with Batman now, because if you remember in Batman Returns, Gordon pretty much threw Batman under the bus when everyone thought Batman was killing people. Oh, and another extended script thing, had it been a Tim Burton film, Commissioner Gordon was gonna die. And our heroes are going off to the island. See, I wouldn't have known this was an island if I wasn't told. I mean, it's just, this film is too dark, where you can't even tell they're on an island. To keep up with the campiness like the 60s, Two-Face and Riddler are playing Battleship. And the blast takes down the Batwing, which also becomes the Bat-Sub. Well, no matter, they're on the island.
Holy rusted metal, Batman! Huh? The ground, it's all metal, it's full of holes, you know?
And of course he had to say holy something because that's a total Burt Ward Robin thing.
Holy sardine!
That was for my mother! My father!
Alright, Two-Face is going up against Robin, which we don't actually see Two-Face fighting hand-to-hand with Batman. Aw, Robin got duped, you silly goose.
Riddle me this, riddle me that. Who's afraid of the big black bat?
Wow, you really can't stop yourself from looking like a runway nightmare, can you? And it's revealed that both Robin and Chase have been captured. Alright, so let's see. Robin puts on his outfit. He rides one of the vehicles to the island, sort of beats up Two-Face, then gets captured. Our hero.
For if knowledge is power, then a god am.
What the hell was that?
This acrobat turned orphan likes Saturday morning cartoons and dreams one day being bare naked with a girl.
Okay, but Dick Grayson is what, like 35?
Darkness is as clear as daylight. What am I?
Oh, Batman has a riddle now.
You're as blind as a bat!
Yep, that's a tough one, Bruce. Didn't think that one through either, huh? So it leads to Batman having to swoop in and save both of them because he's Batman. Of course he can save two people at once.
All those heroics for nothing.
Oh, and here's where the Tim Burton script kind of comes in, where Two-Face throws the coin and Batman throws a bunch of coins to confuse them, except for here it's on a ledge, so Two-Face is indirectly murdered by Batman. Don't you dare murder anyone, Robin. That's Batman's job. The Riddler, folks. Look at that melon. It's like the Elephant Man. But hey, at least we get to see Arkham. It's the first time we see Arkham Asylum on the screen. Or any live action, really.
Enigma has been screaming for hours that he knows the true identity of Batman. I'm
just gonna assume that the doctor here is based off of Tim Burton. His name is Dr. Burton and his hair is like Tim Burton's.
I'm Batman.
That's pure wackiness. So the film ends with, I guess, Bruce and Chase working things out and gonna be together, which we know that's not gonna last. With Tim Burton's vision, it was going to end with the same way the first movie ended, with Batman and Robin standing on an object looking at the bat signal. But what we end up with is a silhouette of Batman and Robin running from the bat signal right into our hearts. Aww. So that was Batman Forever. Did well at the box office. As you know, it got a sequel 2 years later. That was their first mistake, making a sequel only 2 years later, when the other films were like 3 years apart. They needed that extra year. Oh, I can't wait till I tackle that film. I, for one, like the film in a way that it's very bad, and that's why I like it. Funny thing is, if the franchise actually ended at Batman Forever, it would have just been looked at as the weaker link of the trilogy. But because they had to go and push it further with Batman and Robin, it just made it worse. No one's career really was destroyed from it, per se. The budget for the film was $100 million, but it did earn $336 million. Thank you for watching Anthonix Maximus Reviews. I'm Anthonix Maximus. Please like, subscribe, share, ring the bell, and tell me in the comments what you think of this film, and I want to hear what you think of The Batman. Which Riddler will be good? I personally actually really liked the Gotham series Riddler. Or, if you want, we can go buy the action figure and enjoy the sassy Riddler. The Riddler that looks like he's about to tell us off. Until next time.
Gotham must know!